Good morning. My name is Aryan Singh Rana, and in today's video, our main objective would be to how to make a sign up slash login form in React.js. So our objective is also written over here, as you can see that create a registration form that should take data from the user, display a welcome message in an alert, and print all the form data in a form of array in the console. So this is how a form should all look like. We do not need necessarily to make it exactly like this. And this is how it should output the result. As you can see that it is saying welcome function up. And in the when we go to the insert element of the web page and then we go to the console section, you can see that it is printing whatever data that we enter in the form inside the console as well. So this is my React code that I have written. You can find the link for this project's repo in the description. As you can see that first there is the main app.js in which I imported my form component. App.js is our main component. And whatever we see in the final output of the or final web page, it comes from our main app.js. And I've created, as you can see that I first imported a form component from this location and then used it inside my app.js. So this is the form that I have created. Uh, I will explain the how the component is working. I will just go a little bit through the CSS section. Our main objective is to how to build a form and do all those tasks. The appearance thing you can experiment with yourself. So as you can see that in the main functionality of this whole component, as first I imported my CSS file. Then, as you can see that I also imported my useState functionality or useState hook. Inside I initialized a useState with a const keyword, and the useState would be is data type and set data, and the default state of this would be an object with keys like user, and its value would be empty string. Similarly, for another key which is pass, num, and main, and their respective value is an empty string. Now, coming to the main form element. First, I created a div tag which would contain my entire form. As you can see that it covers my entire form. Yes, you can see that it is being highlighted. It covers my entire form, and after that, I wrote the heading of my form, which is login slash sign up in H1 tag. Now I started my form section using the form tag, and you can see that it covers my entire form section till here. Now, after that, I created a label for my username input field. As you can see that label HTML username input field, and it would show this text, which is username and then colon. Now, what is the use of label? It generally is used just to label an input field, or you can say that it increases the accessibility area of the input field. So if we click on the input field, then we can access it. But if we are also using a label and mentioning that input field's ID, and then we click on the label itself, then also we will be able to access that particular input field with their respective ID. So as you can see that the label represents the input field with the ID username. So as you can see that the username ID is been assigned to the input field just right below it with the type of text. And now here comes the main retrieval of data. Now this value is equal to curly braces data dot user. Now what is does that? It is now defaultly setting the value of the input field. Now, initially, the value of my use state data, particularly the key user, is empty, so it won't show me anything in the input field, and it would only show me this placeholder attribute that I have also mentioned, which is enter your name. Now, what I am doing, I will be updating my use state whenever there is a change noticed inside my input field. So there is an event specific event listener for that, which is on change event listener. What it does that it activates whatever functionality we write inside it. during the period of change inside the input field, or any element with whom it is attached. So it would initiate this arrow function whenever it notices any changes inside my input field. As you can see that in the arrow function, E is the input. Now, what is E? When we talk about the form element, each and every form element has its own object, and every object has its multiple keys and value pairs, and even those keys and value pairs have their own objects. What there are multiple functionalities built in the those objects. I what I want to do is that whatever the user is inputting the value inside my input field, I want to save it. Now, how am I going to take it? Is by taking the object of the respective input box, which is over here, which is I'm taking as E, and then going to its target key, and the target key contains value key, which contains the value being entered by the user inside the input field. So as you can see that I called set data inside my arrow function. Yeah, now let me explain what a use state is completely. So a use state is a specific hook, or you can say it is a special kind of variable that is developed for React.js. What it does that it contains the state of a component in the memory itself, and when we re-render it, directly takes the data that is saved in the memory and then apply the rendering according to it. So as you can see that the data variable over here would store and be able would store the data whatever we are trying to store in it, and we can access that data using the data variable. And set data is a specific functionality that can only be used to update data. We cannot directly update the data. We can only update the data using the set data function. And this is, as I told you, this is the default value of the data. Now coming to how I'm updating my user section. As you can see, because I am entering my username. So the user keyword would store whatever the input that is being entered by the user itself. So as you can see that first the on change because of the on change event listener, this arrow function would be initialized and the parameter is E. So inside the E, as you can see that the set data function or functionality would be called. What is doing that? It is first creating its own new object. So as you can see that the default value of a data is a group of keys and values with where each and every key is empty, and it is an object. So we are updating the pre-existing object with the new object. And how are we doing that? We are first creating an object using these curly braces. After that, we are destructuring the pre-existing data. As you can see that this is the rest operator, or sorry, this is the spread operator, and then this spread operator would destructure the data, the object inside the data variable or data use state. And then what I am doing is that again I am updating the user value. Now if there are two keys of same name within the same object, then what it does that first it will store the first key inside the object, and then if that same keys occur in no, same key occur in the succession, then it would update the value of the key with the new value that comes after putting the previous one. So this data contains itself a user, and the user contains an empty string. So it would update the user key with this current value. As I told you, e.target.value, it would first go inside the input fields object, then it would go inside the target object, and the target object holds a key known as value, which has the value. Now value is the key over here, and it has a value which stores every input that the user is inputting inside the input box. So user would store this value as its value, or as this sorry, the key user would store this value as its value, and it would update the whatever previous value the user was holding. And then the set data function, after that we come outside the object, and this is the parenthesis for the set data, and set data would update the previous object with this new current object. and that's how I am updating each and every key inside my data. As you can see that this is for the input for the username. This input is for the password with the with the type of in the input field password. And again, as you can see that this is the label for the phone number, and the type is text over. Oh, I did take the phone number input field type as text, because if I put number, then it would give me a pointer, two pointers to increase and decrease for increment and decrement, and that is not uh, particularly appealing input field. So that's why I took the text type over here. It again has the placeholder as number. That default value would take as data.num. Now currently the date similarly like the username. Currently the data.num only holds a empty string. When a user enters anything, the on change event listener would trigger, and this following arrow function would trigger, which would update the num key with this value, which is e.target.value. Similarly, for the email address. Now, after that, I created a button which would act as a submit button. Now comes the main task of this whole project was that I should first on submit, clicking on submit, it should give me a alert pop out, and also it should print whatever the values has been inputted by the user inside my console. So as you can see that in the form tag, I used on submit event listener. So it would act whenever I push my login slash sign up button that I created at the bottom of my form. This on submit event listener would get triggered, and it would start this handle output function. Now, what is happening in the handle output function is that first, I am console dot logging my data. Now, as I told you, data is the object currently holding these values, and these values would be updated because the user have entered whatever information the user has have entered would be updated inside the values of their respective keys. And after that, as I told you, the question asked us to output an array. So what I did is that I created an empty array, and then I added it over my data object. And after that, I am simply pushing each and every value inside my array. And again, I'm console dot logging my array. Now after that, the I am using the I am then you using this alert function to bring out the pop-up of alert, which would say welcome and data.user. Now as I told you, data.user has been updated with whatever the info the user had entered, so it would show welcome and whatever plus whatever name the user have entered. Now the reason for me putting this alert function at the end of my function alert function, and at the end of my whole handle output function is that, because if I put my function before these console.logs, then what would happen when first the alert would come out, and when I click on OK, then it would in an instant it would print all these values, and then because I clicked on OK, it would then refresh the whole page. Now that is the default behavior of my of the React, which is that whenever we push the submit button, it would in an instant refresh the whole page. Now, the other thing that we could have done is that we could have used the forms object. Again, I am talking about this e object, and it has a specific attribute which is named as prevent default. Now it would prevent the form's default behavior, which was whenever we click on the submit button, it would stop the refresh of the whole page. We can do that. We first need to write e dot prevent default, then we can write the alert function, and then we can print out the whole data in the array as well. So that is the another way, but I opted for this way because the latter way that I talked about, I discovered it a bit later, and I've already wrote this code. So currently I'm going with this, but you can also do the go by the second method that I just told you about. So that's how the two main tasks of the project has been achieved by me. So just a second, it is unnecessary. Okay, so just a second, it is compiling. So this is how the form is looking. Now let me just open up my inspect.element and go to its console section. So first I will be entering my name ARI. Now we can write password as anything and number like anything, any number. And as well, we can go like something. Okay. So now what should happen is that whenever when I push this login slash sign up button, it should give me an alert pop out and the console should give me the output of that data object and the array as well. So as you can see that it is giving me welcome and the name that I entered, which is stored in the data.user, Arihan Singrana. And as you can see that the console has given me output as well. This is the data object and this is the array object. Now, when you come over in the, you might be wondering why I'm printing in object and array as well. Now, when you as the in the console of the project that we have been given, the output shows the console.log printing in an object, as you can see that user, then whatever the input was, then password, then phone number, and then email, just similar to like this. But again, the project was mentioning about an array. So just to stay on a safe side, I am also printing the object and the array as well. So that's how the whole functioning of the this form is taking place. Now I'll simply go through the CSS section of this form. Now over here, as you can see that first I changed the color background of my whole form into black, which is of this color code. Then what I did, I created this box shadow, which is giving this glowing effect. Now after that, I used this border radius to give me the rounded corner. Just a second, I'm just Yes, which give me this rounded corner in my form. After that, coming, I fix the height and width according to these values. I rearrange the form in to make it center. After that, I used a flex, display flex to make each and every element into block element, and use flex direction to so that they can flex direction into column so that they appear in a column. And again, I use align atom to align them properly. This background color is a gradient color. This as you can see that this is background color is of purplish purplish and dark violet like gradient, and this is the command for it. After that, I coming to the H1. I used Google Fonts over here. Now to use Google Fonts, first you need to go to their website Google Fonts and choose whatever font you want. Then after going to the Google font, you will go to get this click on get this font icon, and when we go to that, it show you a link tag that we have to write in our index.html. So as you can see that this is the link tag that I am talking about, and it is to be pasted in it is to be pasted in our within our head tag. As we everyone know, head tag holds the metadata, and this link tag is simply working like a metadata for our font style that we are taking from Google. So these three link tag would be available there. We simply copy it from there, and then paste it in the index.html, and then mention when you come to the CSS file, mention inside the font family attribute, mention the font, whatever font you chose, or whatever fonts link tag you pasted inside the index.html over here. So simply mention their name over here. Now I have formatted my input box. As you can see that this is not the normal size of the input box, and it is a bit wider. So that's how I did it by fixing its height, width, and border radius as well to make it a bit rounder from the corner. And I simply brought, because it is a display flex box. The each and every input field was stuck to each other, attached to each other, just to bring some gap between each and every one of them. I give them the value of margin of 10 pixel. After that, this is the formatting for my button. Now buttons, I simply increased its size and changed the font of it using the again using the Google fonts. And after that, what I did is that I as you can see that I also changed the background color of my button into she cell. Now I also added the another pseudo class for my button, which was hover. So it means that whenever my cursor hovers on my button, it would show some different kind of as CSS formatting. So first I increased its size. As you can see that when I hover over it, its size increases and its color changes both in the background and the text as well. So as you can see that first the height and width increase has been mentioned inside this. After that, I use transition. It means that it would slow down the transformation from the previous CSS to the new CSS when I am hovering over it. So it would take 800 milliseconds to complete the animation. After that, as you can see that I adjusted my margin at left and margin top. Why I did that? Because when the button size was increasing, it was looking like the button was shifting from the center. So to compensate for that, I also decreased the value of the margin top and margin left, so that when the button size increases, it remains at the center. Because as you can see that the margin top, margin left, and margin top value are much larger over here than over here. Why is that? Because the button size is less over here, but the button size is increasing over here. So just to make it look appear like it is center over here, as you can see that it is looking like simply the button is staying there and the size is only increasing. I accordingly change its margin left and margin top value. Again, I changed because the background color would be changed to black. I also changed the text color to white. And after that, that's all for the CSS formatting as well. I forgot to mention in the head tag also, I used Google font to apply this font family. You can also find it inside the Google font section. I can mention you the name of it. The name of the font family would be Tilt Prism and Code Mono. And the last one is just a second, the button one. Yes, Exo 2. So these are the three Google fonts that I used. Well, that's all for this project. As I've mentioned before, you can find the repository link for this whole project inside the description of this video. Well, that's all, and thank you for watching.